It's been 10 years since the NFC West crown has been held by the Arizona Cardinals. In that decade, fans haven't had much hope, with the most promising season coming in 2021 when the Cardinals began with a 7-0 record and were the final undefeated team standing in the NFL. However, when February rolled around, it was the division rival LA Rams lifting the Lombardi. For a team who has only ever won the West 3 times since realignment in 2002, while each of their counterparts have had their time in the spotlight as Super Bowl favorites. It's hard to make an argument for why 2025 will be different. Hell, most people are probably laughing at the title, and I don't blame them. But in a very busy offseason that saw Seattle completely overhaul their offense, the Rams part ways with a franchise legend, and the 49ers finally lose some key pieces, the laughingstock Cardinals have finally emerged out of their rebuild and had a very productive offseason. So as a fan, not only am I here to state my case for why the Cardinals have a chance to win the NFC West, I'm also going to establish why it is my expectation for that result in 2025. If you enjoy, consider subscribing to the channel. We have to start a few years back because the average NFL fan has likely ignored Arizona and have missed everything that has happened since the change in regime. Exchanging Cliff Kingsbury and Steve Keim for Jonathan Gannon and Monty Ossenfort. You will remember the way the new head coach was instantly mocked for how he interacted with his players. Viral clips of his awkwardness made people write him off instantly, similar to how Detroit's Dan Campbell was laughed at in introductory press conference for his comment about biting off the kneecap. While the head coach was mocked publicly, behind closed doors, players bought in. Key pieces such as Budda Baker, who was considered to be good as gone under the previous management, signed an extension to remain with Arizona. Monty Ossenfort built this team from scratch, all about establishing the culture. The guys who didn't fit it were out, no questions asked. Getting rid of DeAndre Hopkins, Zach Ertz, and Isaiah Simmons were all head scratchers at the time that have led to better, younger players taking over their spot. You likely will remember the brief Josh Dobbs era, before Kyler returned from his ACL tear late in the season. The team was 1-8 when Kyler came back, and the year was pretty much over, but the vision of the future was bright. Trey McBride was starting to take form. Kyler was exciting. They might have only won 4 games, but they were rarely embarrassed. They fought till the end and gave some good teams some real trouble that year. I was proud to be a Cardinals fan in 2023. They landed the 4th overall pick, and suddenly Arizona started to attract some free agents. But they stayed true to building a culture of good teammates and leaders. Mack Wilson Sr. was the best pickup in my opinion. A selfless guy who wanted to be in Arizona, and he said right from the start that he could feel something was cooking in the desert, and he wanted to be a part of it. You add Marvin Harrison Jr. to that mix, and people were excited to watch Cardinals football. James Conner set the tone, McBride was the best tight end in football, and on defense they had Garrett Williams becoming a star at corner last year. Budda Baker had one of his best seasons. The secondary had their moments with young players such as Max Melton becoming very solid down the stretch. They went on win streaks, boat raced teams, beat playoff teams, and stayed competitive against teams like Buffalo, Detroit, and Minnesota. They didn't close out the season the way they should have. I maintain the belief that if the bye week wasn't when it was, Arizona would have won their division last year. So this year, it's time to tighten that ship and get the job done for a full, consistent 17 games. It was, however, very clear down the stretch the weaknesses in the team, mainly the depth in the trenches on both sides of the football. You couldn't protect your quarterback and you couldn't get to the opposing quarterback. So Monty Ossenfort was on a mission. You couldn't rush the passer, Josh Sweat can fix that. Couldn't stop the run, here's Calais Campbell, Dalvin Tomlinson, and Walter Nolan in round 1. Secondary is maybe one guy away. How about one of, if not the best corners in the draft, falls to your lap in the 2nd round? The O-line is mostly the same. Isaiah Adams had a big camp. Jonah Williams needs to stay healthy. And Monty Ossenfort found a future Pro Bowl center for nothing, taking a chance on Yalda Froholt. If a guy goes down, they definitely have more depth this season. Last year, they had Jackson Barton blocking Aiden Hutchinson for a whole game. Hopefully, it'll never get that bad for the O-line ever again. You'll get guys back that were injured last year, such as BJ Ojulari and Darius Robinson. This is a young and exciting team if everything meshes well. Look, I know, the comments are all going to be about the quarterback. I already made a video talking about how all the pressure is on Kyler Murray this season, and they can't do any of what I have said without him at his best. And I'm not going to make a prediction on whether or not he can be that guy. But the Cardinals really don't need MVP level Kyler. They just need a guy who is going to take care of the football and manage that offense. The difference for Kyler Murray this season should be mindset. Sure, he has the pressure, but it's a different pressure because it is a different mindset. In the years past, when people have said it all comes down to Kyler, they mean he has to be superhuman and play flawlessly, which just doesn't happen in the NFL. I'm hoping that by surrounding him with such impactful players such as McBride and Harrison, as well as a good enough defense where you don't feel like you have to get 7 points every drive, it may allow Kyler to play a little more freely. The main thing that makes me believe that the Cardinals can win this division is the fact that the other teams got significantly worse while the Cardinals improved. Geno Smith, who owned Arizona, is gone, and Seattle's a completely different challenge as they put their future in the hands of Sam Darnold, who could be hit or miss. The Niners took a step back. Debo being gone isn't nearly as negative for them as the other 16 players who left, including Charvarius Ward, Talanoa Hufanga, and Dre Greenlaw. While they signed Purdy to an extension, but in my mind that could benefit the other 3 teams in the West more than San Francisco. And the Rams moved on from Cooper Kupp, replacing him with Davante Adams. It could be a loss for a loss, or Adams could turn out a productive year. But at 37, with lingering injuries, the clock is ticking for Matthew Stafford, and I think that this could be his last year. The Cardinals, at the very least, have the most to be optimistic about heading into the 2025 season in the NFC West. Still having lots of what-ifs, but also having some established players to help that defense. This is the year that the Cardinals emerge from the shadows of the West and host a playoff game at State Farm Stadium. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Let me know what your guys' opinion is and expectations for the Redbirds in 25. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.